he found somebody to forge Rita's signature on some checks. I mean, from a millionaire to broke. And Don went to school, for example, children would start to tease him. They were, your mother there, jail, your mother there, jail. 2 days later, they were back. Like with packed bag. No, we don't want to stay there. You don't want to go back to those people where you were first. You don't want to go back to your father. Your mother is not around. Where would you go? I stood right in front of him and said, you know, how long may wait to give you some wrestling? I think my son's head like, yes, finally, you know?
Hey my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Mel and we are here with mommy. So now I already know, say it's another story time with mommy. Sorry for not posting on Thursday, but this is instead going up on a Friday. You know, we're busy trying to get a lot of stuff sorted with the restaurant and stuff. So we were stuck in Kingston all day yesterday. We came home after almost 8 p.m. We left out 7:30 in the morning and came back 8 p.m. So all at 12 hours we did it on the road for. But yeah guys, my apologies. But with
now we are ready.
No further delay, let's get into the story time. Hope you enjoy.
Okay, hi Mel's lovelies. Today is a chapter of our lives that was drawn out throughout some time. That's why I have to tell it in one story. It actually has to do with Rita and my stepchildren, Don and Sandy.
My half siblings.
Oh, her half siblings, exactly. And it started long ago because Rita met this Rastaman called Mighty, and well, they fell in love and she got married to him, and actually she moved with him and the children to, or they were still in Germany at the time, in Munich. That was around 93, 94. That was before you were born.
Okay.
So they were living in Germany, and actually after or while they were living in Germany, this man really, I mean, he was so crazy. He found somebody to forge Rita's signature on some checks. Now Rita had several accounts. I mentioned already at that point in time she had a good amount of money that she inherited, and she had some businesses going and stuff, but she was not a businesswoman. Definitely not. I mean, a very kind, nice person, a good friend for me, but as a businesswoman, complete failure. Also, Miss Rita, extremely stubborn. I mean, I'm stubborn already, but boy, she beat me by far. So what happened is, although I could see throughout the years that we were friends, a lot of things, and being a friend, of course, I would go to her and tell her and say, Rita, please look out, or take care, or do this, or do that. She would like in here, out there, and leave me alone. So finally I actually practically gave up. And in another story time, I told you already, when she had a rent-a-car business and I ran the business for a short time for her, she suddenly started to see money, whereas otherwise she wouldn't see any. So that was a good proof for that already, and I thought and hoped at that point in time that I could literally prove to her that business make money, that she would change her ways. But no. So when this guy now started to forge checks in her name, she wouldn't even realize because this lady never really checked her bank accounts, or like once in a blue moon. You know, she was like, oh well, I have money, why would I check even, you know? Until one day she get a phone call from her bank and said, oh, we just received another check from you, and well, sorry to tell you, but your account is empty. We cannot change our check. And she was like, what? Because when I said she had money on that account, I'm not talking about peanuts, not like $1,000 or $2,000, you know? I mean, put some zeros behind it and then you're better off.
And what, euros?
No, oh, that was mark at the time.
Oh, okay.
That was still mark. That was before we got euro. But basically, I mean, it was still a ton of money. So when she got this phone call from the bank now, suddenly she got very nervous, of course, and checked here and checked there and checked there. And she found out that money had been withdrawn from her account several times. And all of the times, I can't tell you really the amounts, that's too private, but it was a considerable amount of money. And she found herself basically at the time only left over with one account that did not have that much money on it, comparatively. And she was really like, what the heck? So her first idea, of course, was that her then husband had something to do with it, which of course he denied, but then eventually she could prove it was him. But the bank didn't care. The bank said, well, we get your checks, we get it with a signature, you have to prove us that it's not your signature, and even then, we are not liable, as this guy is liable.
Was they married?
They were married.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, worse there that they were married.
Exactly, they were married too. Exactly. So they wouldn't even care, even care less. Exactly. So what happened eventually when she started to kind of confront him with all these things, what the man did, he left. Of course. He had a ton of money.
Rich and switch.
Rich and switch. I mean, he took the next airplane and was out of Germany. And Rita was sitting there, oops, you know, with all the problems surrounding her and stuff like that. And I don't quite recall how that did go, because she did have that money, a certain amount of money still, and that is when she came to Jamaica and started her rent-a-car business. And part of the reason she came was too to find this guy and bring him to justice. And of course, it never happened, to be honest. I mean, she found out where he was because he was close to Port Antonio at the time, and he bought a nice Jeep and was living in a nice house and had another woman, of course. And she found out all that and could not prove that what he did or that he stole the money from her. There was no way she could really prove it. Although in the end she all got somebody to how you call these people who look at your signature also, if it's your
I don't know what
but I know like people who will look if the handwriting of the person is really the person's,
like
or if it's forged.
That,
right, I don't know the name
that
right
look
now.
at it under a loop and look at everything.
Exactly, how the up and
yeah.
downs and lefts and rights, and if that corresponds to the original. Anyhow, and she did prove that true that it was forged. It was very well forged, but it was forged. So anyhow, she never get really to prove anything. Then she had her business, as I was saying, with the rent-a-car, which was not running that well because, again, she was not a businesswoman. So basically what happened in the end is that she was broke. Stone still broke. I mean, from a millionaire to broke. And of course she started to panic because for years now she not that she always was a millionaire, she inherited some money, right? So she was used to working and taking care of herself and stuff. That was not a big problem. But finding yourself in a situation after quite a few years not having to think about money, and then suddenly you are in a situation where you have 2 children to take care of, and yourself, and having the same problems like all we broke people again. And for her it was like she started to panic. And then an acquaintance of us approached her and suggested that she would bring some substance to Europe, to England for him, and then she would get so and so many thousand, whatever it was, pound or for her, like being a mule basically. And panicky as she was, I didn't even know about it at the time, although we had been staying close. I mean, remember I separated from Drew quite a while ago already, and all those that happened in 1999, 2000, around that time. And we still stayed friends, good friends, and her like children were my children. You know, I mean, they came like my own. And so I wasn't even aware of what she was planning. She hid it from me. And what she did as well, she just said, she said, oh, she would just hop over to Europe doing this, that, and the other, and coming back. And in the meantime, she would leave the children with the person who sent her. You know, in the house of the person that sent her, not with me and stuff. So I said, well, fine, no problem. So she left. As it turned out, in London, when she landed, they grab her out, they search her, they find everything, and Miss Rita landed in jail. And then what happened is, we got to hear that, of course, shortly after. I mean, this is Jamaica, you hear everything. Her children were still with these people. Actually, she was very lucky, seeing that her state of health was not good. And she was a little bit, I don't know, how old was she? About in her 50s, I guess, at the time. And early 50s. And her health was really, really bad through the problem that she had from before with the drinking and stuff. So she got a very mild sentence. They only gave her 8 months. But 8 months in jail in England. So, as it turned out, we get to hear the story, and I was pretty much shocked. And I said, oh my God, Rita, how could you ever do that? You have children, man. And then the children were not supposed to know. That was like one thing she was begging about, like, please, 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 don't tell them, don't tell them. So they told the children, which children? They were teenagers at the time. I mean, they were not really children anymore. And so they told them that she was in Germany in a clinic because her health had been bad, gotten worse, and they put her up and she would do some form of treatment and stuff. So fine. But Port Antonio being what it is, of course, everybody started to know in the town what happened to Rita, and then when Don went to school, for example, children would start to tease him. They'd be, your mother there, jail, your mother there, jail. And he, not knowing anything, he became so mad, and he started to beat around him and beat up Pickney and fight everybody and don't stop the light, stop the light. Now throughout that time I would see them frequently because they always would come to us, until eventually they even started to run away from the other people, coming to us and begging that they could stay with us, and seeing who I was to them. Of course I agreed, although I must say it was hard on us because at that point in time our business had gone down considerably and we barely made enough money to feed ourselves. And So it was really, really hard on us to have 2 more mouths to feed. But what happened then, the first time they came and they stayed, suddenly police come in the yard. And oh, you have the children here, you have to give them back, they have to turn back, and they were really mad. And I said, well, sorry, I didn't know about it, that it was this situation, because I make sure the children call them and let them know they were with me, and it was all right for them to be with me. And then they sent police on us, like we kidnapped the children or something. So I sent them back, of course, because I said, all right, you know. And 2 days later, they were back. Like with packed bag, and no, we don't want to stay there. We can't take it there. It is no, we want to stay with you. And I said, all right, but I mean, they sent police again. A 2-time police come, you know. So I had to explain to the children. I said, look guys, what you want me to do? I mean, I do not really have, your mother left you with them, not with me. I do not have any legal way to keep you. So as it turned out, about another 2 days later, they were back again, right? And then we arranged with these people and just said, okay, look here, it doesn't make sense that they run back and forth. Just make them stay and done. I take the responsibility. You let Rita know, because they were in contact with her. You let her know what's going on. I take responsibility, and then peace and quiet. It's better for the children as well. So they were with me at the time. Then when Don heard these things in school and started to beat up Pickney and stuff, and then finally he came home and he was in tears, and I said, all right, no. I sat down with him and explained the situation to him. Point blank. I said, look here, I'm sorry that everybody did lie to you up to now, but they tried to spare you. But that is the truth. And so and so and so and so, and it will be so many months until you can see back your mother. And so this is what it is. So of course he was very distraught in the first. I think his sister knew already at that point in time. She is 1 year older, and she kind of knew already.
Figured it out.
So of course he was distraught, but I mean, he kind of, you see, my theory is always in life, not knowing whatever situation is worse than knowing, and then you can deal with it. Then you can take action for yourself, for whatever situation. You can try to solve it, or you can work it out for yourself. But if you do not know, there is no way. You feel it. You feel there is something wrong. You feel there is something going astray, but you have no chance to deal with it. And I think that is much, much worse than to tell the truth and let even children, to a degree, deal with whatever is handed to them, because basically children are very strong. Children are stronger and resilient than we think.
They're strong, and they're very smart. They catch on to a lot of things anyways, but you just keep
small children. Yes. You see, when parents constantly fight, and the child can be 1 year old, 2 year old, them know, you know. I have seen that over and over. They are so intuitively smart.
Yeah.
They cannot name it. They cannot say that and that and that is happening, but they feel it. So in my life, even when my children, anything happened, I let them know and say, look guys, now we can deal with it. Now we can work with it. You know? So that is why I sat down with Don and told him everything. And actually, he started to feel better, because now he knew, okay, even if the children say something to me in school, I can deal with it differently, which he did. And it worked out well. But what happened too is, like, I think though the two of them did not quite understand our difficult situation financially at the time. So I realized that money was missing from my purse. And you see, me not having much at all time, I always almost exactly know what I have in my purse. I mean,
to the dollar, to the cent.
Up to this day, I always check. I know what I have in my bank account at all time. So when I realized something was missing out of my purse, I was like, what the heck, you know? And then I figured out that it could only be done taking it. So I set a little trap. And true, he fell in the trap and I caught him. And then again, I had to sit down with him. Oh, one more thing. At one point in time, he wanted to go to his father. You know, because he was like, you know, sibling rivalry, then I would treat them differently than their mother. I was a little, or much more strict with them. Mm-hmm. I would set boundaries. I would say this, that, and that. Take it or leave it, you know, which they couldn't, well, there will be another story coming with that. But basically, they were not used to my, well, of course, over the years, they have gotten used to my way of raising children because I treated them the same than mine. But before that, they could always go back to their mother and kind of say, make Sabina stay. But in this point, you know, they had to deal with what I gave them. So at one point in time, Don was like, I want to go to my father. We can't take it here. I said, all right, go. You know, I called him, his father. I said, look, your son wants to come to you, please. And he said, oh yeah, okay. I take him, no problem. 3 days later, who came in the yard? Don. Me can't stay with him. Me can't manage him. No, sir. I don't want to stay there, not at all. Let me come back, please, please, please. So I said, all right, fine, come back. And of course, myself was like, So the next day, after Don came back from his father, Drew suddenly turned up in the marina, all huff and puff, and my son and my child and this and that, and it started to shout. I mean, instead of coming and saying, come on guys, why the boy, what happened and what's the story, he did not even ask, he didn't even try to find out. He was just like right away huff and puff and going on and aggressive and stuff. So basically he became that aggressive that he started to walk towards me again and wanted to lick me, because I mean that was his usual way of solving problems. Now I think that was a field day for my boys, because Yosha came right in front of him, put me behind, right, stand right in front of him and said, you know, how long may wait to give you some wrestling? And then Nikki was right beside him, beside me too, and said, and me too? So Drew looked at them and he saw that they were dead serious. Because, I mean, both of them, they were like, you try to do something to my mother, you are going to get it. And you know, like with him right now, he kind of went backwards, slowly but surely, cursing the whole time, and you can't take my child, and going on and on and on. But he retreated, finally turned around and walked out. So I think my sons had like, yes, finally, you know. So when that happened, now after that I found out about this little thieving thing of his, and I took him aside. I sat down with him again. I explained to him the situation of the family, that we barely had enough to eat as was, so I could not afford him to steal. And furthermore, if he chose to continue, I would have to set him out, because I couldn't afford it. And then I looked at him and said, no, think carefully. Where would you go? You don't want to go back to those people where you were first. You don't want to go back to your father. Your mother is not around. Where would you go? So consider carefully what you do as of now. You're welcome here. I have no problem having you here, but no stealing, no lying, no fighting. And you have to go to school. Because, you know, They love to skip school. So basically I gave him the choice, which was not really a choice. But after that, well, he was well, all right. I mean, we had no more problem with him, and that was very, very good. So basically our enlarged family was just living day by day again. These two children were suffering, of course, for the entire situation. They were kind of lost, partly, knowing their mother was in another country in jail for I don't know how long. They could contact her with letters and stuff, and I think once in a while they could call her, but Sunday didn't even want to call her mother. She said, I hate her, I don't want to talk to her. And that was Sunday, just relax, you know. I mean, she's your mother after all, and of course you love her, and of course she loves you, and it's just a situation you have to deal with, or we all have to deal with. So finally Rita was released from jail, but she had to stay in England because she was released a little bit early, I think after 6 months or so. And she could not leave the country, she had to stay. And then she talked to the authorities over there, and actually they put up the money to bring over the two children. So after about 6 months of me having them in the family, they were ready to pack and go. And I was glad that they would be back with their mother, although I was a bit concerned as well, of course. But, well, they finally left. And actually, all of them stayed in England up to this day, basically. They never came back to live in Jamaica, barely touched Jamaica after. Rita got a little house from the government and was living there, and children went to school, and they had a normal life after all. And well, we continued with what we were doing without them. We are still in contact with the children. Rita passed away a few years ago, but we are still in contact with the your siblings, which are still part of the family. And but that was a time that was pretty challenging for all of us. But like I say, we went through it and it worked out eventually. But like I say, it was a hard time for everybody. And basically that is our story for today, which I said it was drawn out. Actually, Rita never got a cent back from that man. Up to now, we don't even know where him is. He could all be dead too. I have no idea what happened to him. Yeah, basically that was that story for today. So I hope you enjoyed it. Nonetheless.
Thank you guys so much for watching. As usual, please remember to like, share and subscribe. Tomorrow we will be going live, so check that out. And you know, for this little delay in posting, you're getting 5 videos back to back. So today is Friday, you're getting a video Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Or Saturday is live.
It's still basically a video. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Why you get spoiled?
So yeah, you know I don't like to, you know, miss my schedule, so I had to make up for it. But yeah guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in our next video. Bye.